Hi, my name is Edoardo. I'm a consultant to professional investors and entrepreneurs in global sports and entertainment with a focus on Europe and North America. And today I'm going to be presenting to you a big theme in sports finance today, which is succession planning for entrepreneurs in sports, media, and entertainment, for how to protect the business when the founder steps back. Firstly, when you have an ownership that stays in place, the leadership stays ready and the business can run on its own. So the first step that must be taken care of is planning for the handoff. How? By making the leadership change clear, deciding on who can make the calls, and also keeping the key relationships with stakeholders and suppliers strong. Secondly, is to keep the business moving by protecting the long-term value, keeping operations running without a pause, and building a company that works beyond the owner or founder. Secondly, what is the real problem? The problem is a legacy owner without any exit plan, because control, yes, it matters, but it only works when there is a clear plan for what happened next. Because if you go to market without a succession plan, the buyer sees the risk. And that usually means that there are weaker offers and much more unknown. So putting up a business for sale without a succession plan is a very, very weak spot as the owner of a business. There are two parts of succession that are very important to understand. The first is that ownership succession, to decide who gets the shares and on what terms, who controls the business, and what do the rules of governance look like. And management succession is who's going to be running the day-to-day business, how does leadership carry on without any disruption, and how does the founder step back without any chaos. Because if the business cannot run without the founder in the room, it's not truly ready to sell. And both of these successions matter a lot, because if you miss any one of the two, you leave out the business exposed. And the real example today has been Atletico Madrid, with a 30-year history, and who recently gave a clear handover on a 4-year transition window, when in late 2025, Apollo Sports Capital bought a majority stake in Atletico Madrid for more than $1 billion. Here we saw a long-term ownership with more than 30 years of history, a trusted leadership, a club that stayed stable financially and commercially, and there was a strategic investment where there was a majority stake that was acquired, a deal that was worth over 1 billion euros, and the existing leadership remained in place. How? Because they also had a managed transition where there was a 3 to 4 year handover plan, the succession was mapped out clearly, and what was very important that was protected was continuity. And so there is a key trap, an issue that we must be aware of, that as an entrepreneur and as an owner in sports and entertainment, you must be aware of. Because in founder-led businesses, the founder is often the product. Because people buy the person and not just the business. If the founder leaves, there is uncertainty that shows up fast. And the reputation risk, here, it becomes real. Secondly, the investor risk goes up, because since the valuation can get pushed down, there is no backup system for the founder. And due diligence here starts to raise its concerns. So the real fix can be to build a strong leadership team, put simple systems in place, and make the business less dependent on one person. So here, to consider the key person trap, the goal is to build a business that can run without you in the room. And there are 3 succession plans, one for every single situation. So this is a very flexible solution, and the right plan depends on how soon you need this, and also why. The first is a strategic leadership plan with a 5+ more year horizon to build, that gives you time to build the next generation of leaders, and also it's best for founders that are actively involved with the business. The second is the defined departure plan, that is on a 2 to 4 year horizon for a planned retirement or exit, which help to keeps the transition smooth and funded. And the third is the emergency succession plan that starts immediately for any unexpected illness or incapacity by the business owner or founder, and it helps to keep the business moving without a pause. So knowing here, the last and most important point for presenting this big theme is that it's not optional to know who is going to be your investor, because your business, the future of your business is going to be dictated by how well you know your investors. If you do not understand what your financing choices are, you cannot make a smart decision about your business. And there are 4 very important investor types. The first is private equity. You can have a strategic partner, a family office, or an institutional fund. And the real question is simple. What does this investor want to do with your business? And does that fit with the future you see for the business? Because private equity investors, what they want to do is improve the business, grow the revenues, and also try to make operations more efficient. And they usually invest in buyout deals or taking a majority stake, or you can have a strategic partner that helps to create business synergies, expand the brand, open new markets, and they usually invest through minority investments or joint ventures. Then you have family offices or ultra high net worth individuals that help to that want to protect their wealth over time. They want to keep their capital stable and also preserve the legacy of the business which they invest in. And they usually invest through either a full acquisition or a patient capital choice, giving the owner a salary. And the fourth is an institutional fund, that what they want from the business is to spread the risk across investments, aim for clear return, and also plan the exit of the investment they're going to make early and immediately. And they usually invest through structured equity or a fixed timeline. I am Edoardo Grandi. I was very happy to present to you succession, the importance of succession for entrepreneurs and in sports, media, and entertainment. And I look forward to presenting with more depth each core area in the coming videos.